Cyclic GMP is synthesized from the nucleotide GTP using the enzyme guanylyl cyclase. Cyclic GMP serves as a second messenger for atrial natriuretic peptide, that is ANP, nitric oxide, NO, the response of the rods of the retina to light. Some of the effects of cGMP or cyclic GMP are mediated through protein kinase G, a cyclic GMP dependent protein kinase that phosphorylates target proteins in the cell. So this is a cyclic GMP pathway. Consider this as cell membrane, and now we are talking about the cell of a skeletal muscle. Okay, it's a cell of a skeletal muscle. In the on the cell membrane, there is a guanyl cyclase enzyme, and inside the cell membrane, there is a soluble guanylyl cyclase. So, atrial natriuretic peptide is used for the activation of guanylyl cyclase present on the cell membrane. And here we have a blood vessel. On the blood vessel, we have endothelial lining. This endothelial lining release nitric oxide in response to or in against to some stimuli. This nitric oxide released diffuses into the cell of the skeletal muscle. This nitric oxide then activates guanylyl cyclase. This activated guanylyl cyclase further converts GTP into cyclic GMP. Like in the case of cyclic AMP pathway, they used to convert uh, AMP into cyclic AMP by using the enzyme adenylyl cyclase. And here cGMP activates protein kinase G. This protein kinase G phosphorylates a protein called phospholambda. Inside the cell, there is an organelle called endoplasmic reticulum. In the endoplasmic reticulum, there is stored calcium, and on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, there is a pump which can be called as sarcoplasmic endoplasmic calcium ATPase pump. There is a calcium uptake into the cell. If there is a calcium present on outer this on the outer this endoplasmic reticulum or this pump, then it will be taken into the endoplasmic reticulum. Thus, the outer concentration of the calcium is decreased. There is no contraction, therefore the relaxation occurs. This is the first functioning of PKG, is protein kinase G. The second functioning is there is IP3 receptor on the endoplasmic reticulum. IP3 is inositol triphosphate. When IP3 binds to the IP3 receptor, the calcium present inside the endoplasmic reticulum goes out, and there will be calcium ions present outer the endoplasmic reticulum. But since the PKG, that is protein kinase G, phosphorylates this IP3 receptor, inositol triphosphate cannot bind to the receptor, so the calcium ion doesn't flow out, it stays inside. Again, there is a calcium ion decrease in outside the endoplasmic reticulum. Thus, again, relaxation occurs. In the third case, protein kinase G activates biosil with and phosphatase with the help of a enzyme, myosin light chain kinase enzyme. When this myosin phosphatase undergo dephosphorylation, that is myosin dephosphorylate, there is again relaxation occurs. When protein kinase G activates transcription factors, which is necessary for the regulation of ANP or NO. There is a regulation of gene expression of particular stimuli. While talking about phospholipid-based second messengers, here we can see the structure of a generalized phospholipid. Phospholipids are subject to attack by four types of phospholipases that cleave the molecule at the indicated sites. Of these enzymes, we'll focus on PLC, which splits the phosphorylated head group from the diacylglycerol. Diagram B, it indicates an interaction between a pH domain that binds to the phosphorylated ionositol ring of a phosphoinositide. This interaction tethers the protein to the inner surface of the plasma membrane and may alter the activity of the parent protein. The diagram C is a fluorescence monograph of a cell that has been stimulated to move toward a chemoattractant. This cell has been stained with an antibody that binds specifically to Pi345 triphosphate PIP3, which is seen to be localized at the leading edge of the migrating cell. Phospholipase C, the generation of second messengers as a result of ligand-induced breakdown of phosphoinositides (Pi) in the lipid bilayer. In steps 1 and 2, phosphate groups are added by lipid kinases to phosphatidyl ionositol to form PIP2. When a stimulus is received by a receptor, the ligand-bound receptor activates a heteromeric G protein containing a GQ subunit, which activates the enzyme Pi-specific phospholipase C, which catalyzes the reaction in which Pi45P2 is split into diacylglycerol and ionositol 1,4,5 triphosphate IP3 is step 5. DAG is a lipid molecule that remains in the plasma membrane following its formation by PLC. There it recruits and activates effector proteins that bear a DAG binding C1 domain. DAG recruits the protein kinase PKC to the membrane and activates the enzyme. Step 6. Inositol 1,4,5 triphosphate IP3. It is a sugar phosphate, a small water-soluble molecule capable of rapid diffusion throughout the interior of the cell. IP3 molecules formed at the membrane diffuse into the cytosol, step 7, and bind to specific IP3 receptor located at the surface of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, step 8. Binding of IP3 opens the channel, allowing calcium ions to diffuse into the cytoplasm, is step 9. The generation of second messengers as a result of ligand-induced breakdown of phosphoinositides in the lipid bilayer. Another well-studied secondary messenger system involves hormonal stimulation of phosphoinositide hydrolysis. Some of the hormones, neurotransmitters, and growth factors that trigger this pathway bind to receptors linked to G proteins, whereas others bind to receptor tyrosine kinases. In all cases, the crucial step is stimulation of membrane enzyme phospholipase C, which splits a minor phospholipid component of the plasma membrane, phosphatidyl ionositol 4,5-biphosphate (PIP2) into two second messenger diacylglycerol and IP3 inositol 1,4,5 triphosphate. Diacylglycerol is confined to the membrane where it activates a phospholipid and calcium-sensitive protein kinase called protein kinase C. IP3 is water-soluble and diffuses through the cytoplasm to trigger release of calcium by binding to ligand-gated calcium channels in the limiting membranes of internal storage vesicles. Elevated cytoplasmic calcium concentration resulting from IP3 promoted opening of these channels promote the binding of calcium to the calcium binding protein calmodulin, which regulates the activities of other enzymes, including calcium dependent protein kinases. With its multiple second messengers and protein kinases, phosphoinositide signaling pathway is much more complex than the GAP pathway. For example, different cell types may contain one or more specialized calcium and calmodulin dependent kinases with limited storage substrate specificity. Example, myosin light chain kinase. In addition to a general calcium and carbonyl dependent kinase that can phosphorylate a wide variety of protein substrates. Furthermore, at least nine structurally distinct types of protein kinase C have been identified. As in the CAP system, multiple mechanisms damp or terminate signaling by this pathway. IP3 is inactivated by dephosphorylation. Diacylglycerol is either phosphorylated to yield phosphatidic acid, which is then converted back into phospholipids, or it is diacetylated to yield arachidonic acid. Calcium is actively removed from the cytoplasm by calcium pumps. The roles of INSP3 and DAG in signal transduction. When a receptor R is inactivated by binding of its ligand L on the outer surface of the plasma membrane, the receptor ligand complex associates with the G protein GP, causing the displacement of GDP by GTP and dissolution of GTP G alpha complex. The GTP G alpha complex that binds to phospholipase C, activating it and causing cleavage of PIP2 into one molecule each of INSP3 and DAG. INSP3 is released into the cytosol where it triggers the release of calcium. DAG remains in the membrane where it activates protein kinase C. Another particularly well-studied second messenger offers several interesting comparisons with the cycle AMP. The release of calcium into cytosol is mediated by diverse channels. Plasma membrane channels regulated by G proteins, membrane potential, K plus or calcium itself, and channels in specialized regions of endoplasmic reticulum that respond to the second messenger inositol triphosphate or in muscle to cell depolarization. Calcium is removed both by extrusion and by reuptake into the cytoplasmic reticulum. Calcium propagates its channels through a much wide range of proteins than does cyclic AMP, including metabolic enzymes, protein kinases, and calcium ion binding regulatory proteins that regulate still other ultimate and immediate effectors. Although other proteins bind calcium to control activity, most often binding to protein calmodulin form a calcium calmodulin complex is an intermediate step where calcium ions are present to bind each globular end, four in total. The helical arm region then changes conformation and then the wraps around the calmodulin binding site of the target proteins. These are often protein kinases and protein phosphatases, which vary depending upon the target cell. Different cells have different responses. Fertilization of animal eggs reveals an important example of calcium-mediated signal transduction after receptor ligand interaction. Initially, the sperm binds the egg's surface at the membrane, and within 30 seconds, a wave of calcium release spreads from the site of sperm contact. Two main events in fertilization rely on calcium release. Calcium stimulates the fusion of the cortical granules with the egg's plasma membrane to alter the coat surrounding the egg to help prevent the binding of another sperm cell to the egg. Slow block to polyspermy. Calcium initiates egg activation, the resumption of metabolic processes. Calmodulin is a cytosolic calcium binding protein. The molecule consists of two